Hi everyone, this is Joel from Niabi Zoo. Today we want to take you on a little journey in the mouth of certain animals. In fact, by what we find in the mouth of certain animals will actually tell us what kind of animals those are and the types of food that they like to eat. So today we're actually going to start by talking about animals like this. Not specifically this animal, but animals like this. Animals that would have strange teeth with flat edges like this. We call these the herbivores. Now, of course, when we look at herbivore teeth, especially this one is quite large. When we look at the size of that thing, this is actually from an Asian elephant. And we see all these little ridges here, but overall, when we look at the profile of this tooth, we can see it is quite flat. Now, of course, down there is all of the roots, but the flat tooth is the best kind of tooth for eating plants. Now, of course, animals that eat primarily just plants, we call those herbivores. Now, herbivores with these flat teeth, it doesn't matter if it's as huge as an elephant or something like a porcupine. So this is a skull of an African crested porcupine like the ones we have here at the zoo. And again, if you look at their teeth there, you can see they have very flat edges. Now, of course, the front ones here are a little scalloped, and they can actually use those to chew branches or something like that and to cut things off. But when we look at the actual chewing teeth, they are quite flat. Now, we look really close here, we can see they have the little ridges in there, and when we look at that elephant tooth, we can see different shaped ridges there too. And we get different kinds of ridges to the teeth, because when we look at this guy right here, some of you may recognize that as a white-tailed deer skull. That is from a buck, of course. This is actually from a doe, but when we look at their teeth are not quite as flat. So when we look at the profile here, instead of the really flat edges that we saw on the elephant and the porcupine, we see these ridges here. Now, these ridges actually help them to cut through leaves, of course, but also to help chew some branches. And something we notice missing from the front of this, so of course there is the doe skull, but they actually don't have any front teeth, like at all, right? So that's not because they fell out, they just don't have any. So when we look at a deer and those ridges on their teeth, this actually shows us that they are a browser. Now, a browser is an animal that will eat both leaves and branches and some grass, but then there's a different kind of herbivore that is called a grazer. Now, we look at this over here, this is actually a zebra skull, and when we look at the zebra skull and we take a look at its teeth, this one is actually a grazer. Now, grazers pretty much just eat grass. It's not to say that they won't eat leaves, but they primarily focus just on the grass. And so when we look at the profile of its teeth, we can see it does have some of the flatness to it that we saw in the others. There's some edges to it as well. But again, look at all of those different ridges on there, right? So these ridges, every single one of those help to grind up the plants and cut through the leaves so they can get to the nutrition that is inside. So whether you're talking about a grazer or a browser, those are your two different kinds of herbivores. But when we talk about all of them together, these are the plant eaters. Now, eating plants is actually pretty smart because plants have a lot more energy in it that they can get directly from the sun. Some of you may understand trophic levels. And so plants, because they do photosynthesis and get that energy directly from the sun, they're able to keep more energy in their body. So then when an animal goes and eats a plant, they get about 10% of the energy that is inside that plant. But then when an animal eats another animal that ate a plant, they only get 10% of the 10% of the energy that was in that plant. So we can actually get more energy by eating plants. So animals have figured that out, and some of them do a pretty amazing job at getting pretty big, because when you consider something like an elephant and think about it eating only plants, that'll tell you can get pretty big just by eating plants. So I hope you all enjoyed learning a little bit more about our plant-eating friends today, and we will do another video talking about the meat eater. So we hope that you'll tune in for that one too. So this is Joel signing off. I hope everyone is doing well, and we'll talk to you soon. Bye now.